Oh, Chanka.
All right, man, we finna get right into this Deante Kyle pushback. We just gonna dive right into it. I got so much to say about the matter. Before we get started, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Y'all throw 50K in the chat. Y'all know we on a 50,000 sub campaign right now on the channel. Because we want 50,000 people to come here with us and have uncomfortable, controversial conversations. That's what our channel is about. It's about growth. Before I get into this commentary, I'm gonna say this. This is about the commentary. It is not about Deante Kyle. I don't have any negative things to say about him. I don't know him personally. I think everything that he says is, it comes from a sound mind. It comes from his heart. He's a very intelligent brother. I respect everything about Deante Kyle. I am a subscriber to his channel. But over everything, I'm a seeker of truth and I defend what the truth is. So if you hadn't seen the last episode of Deante Kyle's Grits and Eggs podcast on YouTube, you can go see it. It's Free Tory, Free Diddy, Free Your Mind. And he had a lot of great things to say on this show, but one of the things that stuck out the most was his commentary on men's feedback on Tory Lanez and the Megan Thee Stallion case. A lot of men are in on Tory's side. A lot of women are on Megan's side. This has become a gender war, simply. Like many things that's going on the internet right now, a lot of the situations that are happening, whether it be Diddy versus Cassie, whatever the case may be, it becomes a gender war. It's a reflection of what we're really going through in the Black community between Black men and Black women. What I'll just hop right in and say, I don't agree with his take as far as Black men hating Black women. And I don't think he meant it in that way. I don't think he meant that all Black men hate Black women. I think he and many others find it weird that so many Black men have rallied behind Tory Lanez in, an adverse response to Megan Thee Stallion, so to speak, or basically saying that, hey, they, are champion Tory Lanez to be free because they just don't believe Megan Thee Stallion. A lot of these takes exclude that Megan Thee Stallion has been caught lying herself. It's never any real balance. His point, his commentary does seem to lend a hand towards Black women not feeling protected. Black men should be ashamed of themselves. We should, essentially, if we see poor behavior, character, we should point it out. We should call it out. These Black women need to be protected. It's weird that, hey, this dude Tory shot a Black woman. He's in jail. The court is proving him wrong. We're weird. I've heard him say things similar to this or parallel to this on his show that I didn't necessarily agree with. First off, let me say something about Deante. I do not think he is a plant. We got to stop that shit. We got to stop this, that everybody's a plant. I've been called a plant, and we are still in the process of growing on all our platforms, but enough to where we get attention, we get commentary, and people say I'm a plant because of how I feel or how I view or analyze what my environment is doing and the politics around it. Do not think that he is a plant. He has articulated what he thinks the real true enemy is, and I am aligned with him on that. At the end of the day, for Black people, the real enemy for you has always been rooted in white supremacy, white racism, white supremacy, systemic racism. That's just what it is. Now, we differ as to what we think the solution is. Many of us will. Many Black people, which is one of the issues that we're having right now, is that we can't seem to come together and say what we think a real solution is. Okay? But at the end of the day, I will tell you off bat, I feel like we are in alignment with the issue being rooted in racism, white supremacy. Now, the question comes to, is that directly harming us today? What are we actually dealing with? That's where we differ. One thing that he says on his show is that, hey, if, or he alludes to, this white system is oppressing us. I don't deal with white people, I don't interact with white people. And I don't think he's alone in that, because every demographic seems to operate in the space, to be honest, whether we want to admit this or not. They operate in their own right for their own space. But we're Americans at the end of the day. That's what makes this layered and complex, especially when we're dealing with black folk. When we're talking about black people, African Americans, or people that are descendants of slaves here, you are an American citizen. Many of you have been here longer than those that are white citizens, or your white counterparts that are American citizens. You have some second generation Scottish, you have third generation. But for many black people, or Irish. But for black people, many of you have been here. Your lineage goes as far back as the inception of the country, or whatever state became a state when it got into the union, wherever you're from. That's just what it is. So I always say that alongside the Anglo-Saxon, the American black person is right there with you, neck and neck, as an American citizen, a true American, in help building the country. That is a sometimes for black nationalists, sometimes for pro-black, the pro-black ideology. That isn't a mentality that they carry. And I'm not necessarily sure if that's a mentality he carries. But here's where I think it becomes problematic for people that are left leaning, because I feel that Deante is left leaning. Now, some people listen to my content and they're gonna say I'm right leaning. I'm moderate but right leaning. I think he's in the middle but left leaning. When you pick up on a lot of left leaning concepts, they're still very closely rooted to white supremacy. That's just what it is. When he says on his show that there's no homophobia, transphobia, because they are part of community, I understand what he's getting at. I definitely understand what he's getting at. But when you see how Black Lives Matter money was allocated to those groups and organizations and does not directly address the plight of black people, black men, firstly, it must happen. If you want to save a community, you got to save the man. Okay, that's just what it is. And how you can prepare that man to have a job and be able to take care of a family and so forth and so on. There aren't any programs that talk about conventional families, which are gonna be more conservative, than it is left. Black people have a tough time understanding how leftism or left ideology is poisonous to us as a whole, as society as a whole, but it's equally just as racist as you assume the right to be. Now, the right has just been blatantly racism at times, and they haven't done a good job of separating their party from racism. That's just what it is. Listen, I don't let white folk off the hook here. Again, that's where me and him align. And I also want to throw this in there. I think we got to stop taking intellectual people like himself and cutting them off and saying we not going to rap. Because you need a Deante Kyle. You need a Boy Jew the Charm Guy. You need people, Javante Clark, Javon Clark, my bad, Javon Clark. You need Angry Man. You need a large group of intellectual black people that can come together and have dialogue. Throw Candace Owens in there. You have to have all voices. We have to come to the table, because at the end of the day, the truth is going to stand tall. The truth and what's best for the community is going to stand tall. We can't be afraid to do that. Okay? So I don't like that, but I have to put this out when I see left-leaning verbiage come out, or uh information come out that, hey, don't you understand that that's just as poisonous? Because the transgender movement, or the LGBT movement, propels black people how? Then here's my question: with a lot of the commentary that goes towards the protection of Black women, and also raising up Black women to this, like, almost to this place above her man. I'm gonna show you how dangerous that is. When you say things like, okay, not all Black men are bad, but just like all white people aren't bad. You know, you can't just assume that they're all good. You can't differentiate. You have to have protocol against the white community. Well, that's understandable. That's been an external source of issues for the Black community. But when you have that internally, how do you not see that that's problematic? So do you think that all Black men are against protecting Black women? Do you believe that no Black man has the capability to check another man behind a woman? Also, do we not factor in how many men have, or the potential of a man losing his life when you go against another man for women? All groups understand this. How is it that Black women, like most Western women, feel that they can act and behave in any manner that they want to without any reprimand, and we should accept that and call it protection? Then when you say things like they're excelling at, first off, Black women may be the most enrolled. Most women uh, are going to college at higher rates than their man. That does not necessarily mean that they're out earning men. I have a lot of pushback on the equal earning argument that they're having as well. And you can use the WNBA and the NBA as the best examples of this. But it's like, okay, they're doing that to say that they're playing the long game better than the man. That statistically don't make sense. Whether it's labor statistics, Black America, where we have our scholars running statistics, it doesn't show up. There seems to be this false affirmation or validation to make them feel good. And we as Black men have to say, even to brothers like Deante, that we find to be intelligent, we're just not going to go for that. We got to be real. That woman going to understand and respect the truth at the end of the day. And if she's excelling at these higher rates, what is her plan for the family? What is the Black woman? I have yet to hear what the Black woman's collective plan is outside of independence, being treated good, finding a good man, not taking no BS, trashing red pill, blah, 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 traveling with her kids. What is her plan for the family? That's never been when we are having these individual conversations, and when you say this is very problematic to say in the way that women have, we as Black people have to look at white people, women have to look at men in that same way and group us. That's very problematic. And there's been this long-standing comparison of heterosexual men to white people. Do we not see how that is infiltration of the same external source we're trying to get away from? Because who are the authors of liberal concepts on the left? Who is funding the left? These programs, these movements ultimately help whom? We are living in the time where we can see results of what the left party has done. We know what's going on the right side. First off, Black people are collectively more conservative anyway because of the moral foundation of what they say they believe. Whether they believe it or not, that's what they say. And when they get into practice, they go against those things that they feel aren't good for society. Black people have been more aligned with that. And even Democrats at one time. So we're really distorting a lot of information. When we get to a lot of super left ideas or ideology, it's just counterintuitive to society. That's why, as a whole, we went against it. As a whole, not just Black people. And Black people, the collective men and women, voted for Kamala in such a way that it was the majority, supposedly the majority of black people versus everyone else. It really didn't move the needle. So why are we constantly dying on the hill that isn't good for us? And one of the biggest big problems right now is the gender dynamic discussion. It ain't good. And anybody pandering to these women, they going up. Everybody that's pandering quickly are going up. And what I mean by going up is fan base is growing, subscribers is going, posts are going viral, and you're getting a lot of amen. And it does cause this, where we have this discussion, but it is bad information because it's not about community building. The gender war is not community building at all. And yes, I would agree with him that no, the war on black men doesn't start with the black woman, but she is a vital weapon being used by the op. And if she don't wake up and see that and see how she needs to make this she needs to mend her relationship with her man, and men need to wake up and be men again and take over their households, we're gonna have an issue. Red pill ain't the issue, bro. Blue pill ain't the issue. Alpha beta, that shit ain't the issue. The relationship dynamics we can discuss, we can break that down. That isn't the core issue. The big issue that we are missing in totality is that the conventional family is went to hell in our community. The numbers say that. You can't get over that 31% marriage rate. What's up with that? If we go back to social programs in the 60s and everything that the Liberal Party did to supposedly give us some equality and some help in low-income neighborhoods, essentially destroyed the black family. The black family is gone. You could talk about religious dogma all day. The black exodus from the church, hurt us. You got your rights through church. It wasn't bad then. A lot of this new age thinking is poisonous, but at its root, it's still from the op. Notice I'm talking about, I ain't even getting into Tory and Megan. I'm not even getting into gender dynamic. I'm not really getting into that because it's going to be a back and forth all day. First off, generalization is dangerous for everybody. Even right now, currently black people, to be we don't want to be generalized, but we're generalizing. We don't want to be stereotyped, but we're stereotyping. That's a big concept for us. That ain't coon commentary. Because remember, I told you, I understand what the source of the problem is. I just have a different ideology when it comes to everything in totality. So we know that the biggest, look at all the communities that are thriving, that have families, conventional families. I think 94% Indian marriages, the community is married. Look at where they are financially, median income in the country. Asian is next. Look at where they are, median income in the country. That matters. What I agree with him on, that's why you gotta go watch the whole episode. We should have pushback with even those that we're a fan of, because it keeps us from deitizing them. They're human. When he talks about knock it off, people are procreating that don't make six-figure income. That's true. There's no way. There's too many kids being born to say every man you get with gotta have six-figure income. We're placating to the algorithms. That's what he says, and I partially agree to that. But this is machine learning technology. It's doing what we're putting into it. It knows what you like. I'm gonna argue, and I don't think this is a big argument. Social media is a reflection of us. We always want the boogeyman. We need this other thing that is controlling us instead of realizing that we have to control the temptation inside. We got to correct the issues that's going on inside of us. Yes, there are external variables. There are things that can influence you if you allow it to. I definitely believe in spiritual warfare. It's real. I don't care what you say. It's real. We're going through it right now. But it's so easy to blame it when all the power is in you to resist. But we're feeding this algorithm of what we want to see and what we believe. And these are real conversations that are happening with everyday people. These are real conversations that are happening in relationships. I told y'all this, and I'm going to always tell y'all this on this channel. We need experienced people up here talking about relationship dynamics and gender dynamics, meaning that you have married, you have been there for quite some time, you've taken care of children, you've taken care of family. It is not excluding other commentary. It's not saying other people can't join in on the conversation because they are indeed important. But a lot of the commentary I hear in the gender dynamics, it's either far left or far right. It's never balanced. And I get on far right commentary too. I've had my critique on the red pill. I will continue to do that because the red pill commentary is based. Remember, comes from the pickup artist game. It comes from the pickup artist community. So you got a lot of gameless, inexperienced folk talking about relationships and the relationship dynamic when they shouldn't be discussing it in the first place. That's just what it is. But there's a poison. There is an attack on black men. There's an attack on black masculinity. Because if you do not rescue black masculinity, you do not rescue the black community. I don't know why that's like a real difficult thing for us to understand. So if we propel our women to the forefront and get behind them, what is that going to do for our community? Because we've already seen that even when their voices are loud, even when they give a big push, they are not moving the needle by themselves, politically, socially, in any way. Black women have great influence through entertainment and socially in the sense of like fun, entertainment, things like that, along with their black men. But if we propel black women to the essentially in this number one spot, seemingly what everybody's pushing for, she's number one, she's graduating, she's making one. And the statistics just aren't saying this, people. I don't know where are they going to college? Yeah. But even traditional jobs, black women as a whole really haven't changed many of the occupations that they've had. They just pay more. A lot of these occupations pay a lot, but they essentially just hadn't really went into a large, diverse amount of different industries. And it's not to say that it's not happening. This isn't to say that we aren't seeing women go into different industries. I'm not saying that, but in mass, it's just not reflective of that. But when we talk about the black community, when you say that they're graduating more and that they're just doing so much better, why are we not seeing this in the results of where we are collectively financially? Also, I saw some commentary on Twitter, and I was sent this by Grizz, man. Shout out to Grizzly for this, where a woman's basically saying word to Deante Kyle, where she says that the reason why women aren't respecting men is because men aren't respecting themselves. That a man that basically, breaks his frame to validate a woman is a man who is weak, essentially. I don't think that brother's weak. And I don't think men who typically say what he's saying are weak in that sense. But we have to be able to have real conversations with our women. And we have a lot of material right now in the social marketplace to show us examples of where women should be ashamed of themselves. It's just what it is. We have quite a bit of examples of that. And I feel like when we're not doing that, when we're not covering information in wholeness, totality, then we rob ourselves as men from doing what we're supposed to do, which we're leaders, we're teachers. These are teaching moments. Um, you can't say, hey, you're weird for thinking, Tory. To say, let's just go back to something as, as minuscule as this conversation of Tory versus Megan, okay? You can't say that people are weird for assuming that Megan's lying when she's been caught lying. When there's a lot of reasonable doubt surrounding her case. I didn't know that these bullet fragments nor this gun made it to trial. I mean, this is all information that's just coming out. I didn't really keep up with the trial. I didn't really care that much. But I do think that that's, if this is true, what do you... So we're just going to overlook that this is probably just a lover's quarrel of people out here drunk, not knowing what's going on, whatever the case may be. Heat of the moment, passion. And we just gonna villainize this man. We just gonna say this man is bad. Is that not what white people have done to us? If you want to make the argument that something that I disagree with, and I'm probably just going all over the place here. Something else I disagree with Deante on is red pill is not a MAGA breadcrumb trail into becoming a conservative when black people have already traditionally been conservative. You are seeing this red wave wake up in terms of what we find to be morally correct. And red pill information for men who've never had fathers is a layered conversation. You got to approach it better than just, oh, red pill is this and it's leading y'all down to Macca. Because that still kind of connects with the whole, we should just be voting for Kamala. Why? That makes no sense. But on the opposite, if we're going to just say, hey, this man did this, he's guilty, I think that's just like what the op do. I don't see how. That's why I'm saying black people got to pull away from white origined or white sourced ideology in terms of what we should be doing with our community. There are good things that they've done. There are great things that they've done with this country, and we have been a part of that. And we need to understand that we're American citizens. That's a political conversation for another time. But if you're going to start saying things like, we're going to be really pro-trans, pro-LGBT, women's rights and things like that, that is a super left, white, middle class, upper middle class ideology that has never been beneficial to the black community and is still centered around destruction around black men. Now, one, on the other hand, regardless to what you say about red pill, is at least getting men, black men, to think in a way that they typically hadn't thought, which is get yourself together, get you some money, do this for yourself. He admitted this. Go work out. Yes, it is good for men to have that. If you've never had a father in your household to teach you that, where were you without that information? This is we're dealing with some very layered stuff here. This is layered. These are very complex, layered concepts that must be discussed in fullness. But black men, this is why what we do here on the Charm Hour is very important. Greatest American Alive, shout out to that podcast. It's very important where you have men speaking up and saying, wait a minute, you alone don't define masculinity, and women can't join in with you and your post go viral and say, this is what a man should be. Women don't define masculinity. They only affirm it, confirm it. That's it. Affirm, confirm. That's what they do. They don't define it. We as men have to define that through purpose and morality. That's just everything in a nutshell. But I do think there's a lot of validating of women's feelings in our community. And this is just a time where they're not used to being ridiculed. They're not used to being ridiculed. I want y'all to get in the comments and tell me what y'all think. I really want this to be a discussion. I want us to really get, it is time, y'all, that we start really, really, really having uncomfortable conversations as it pertains to relationship and the gender dynamics. I'm pro marriage here, pro family. I understand it's an issue. That's why I talk about it. Y'all get in the comments. Let's discuss. Tell me what y'all think. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Peace.
Oh, Chanka.